Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into Old Navy.
Old Navy.
Now I know what you're thinking. Old Navy.
Right.
Really? Like it's that place with the comfy t-shirts and,
Yeah.
the big sales.
Huge sales.
But there's so much more to this brand than meets the eye. Like,
Absolutely.
did you know they hit $1 billion in sales
Oh, wow.
just 4 years after they launched?
That's incredible, especially when you think about their origins. And they were created by
Yeah.
Gap Inc. back in '94 to kind of compete with those,
Really?
like those discount clothing stores.
So they were like the original disruptor in a way.
Exactly. They saw this gap in the market, no pun intended, for stylish clothes that,
Yeah.
that didn't break the bank.
So they had the stylish clothes at affordable prices.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right.
But what was their secret sauce? Like, what made them stand out?
Well, their business model, it's really built on a few key things. First, and this is kind of unusual, for a brand at their price point, they have an in-house design team.
Wait, hold on. In-house design. So they're not, like,
Right.
just copying trends
No.
or using leftovers from, like, other brands.
They have complete control of the design process, start to finish.
So that's how they manage to, like,
Stay ahead of the game.
stay ahead of the trends and
As
offer
such.
those trendy pieces at those great prices.
Exactly. Most brands in that price range are sourcing designs from elsewhere, but
Yeah.
Old Navy decided to,
Invest.
invest in their own team. And that's, I think, a big part of how they've built that brand identity, that distinct.
Yeah. It makes you wonder how that design team even works, like
Yeah.
what their philosophy is. Do they
Right.
do a lot of market research?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're very intentional about understanding their target audience.
Okay, so
So-
who is their target audience? Because I always kind of thought it was like
Yeah.
moms and
Yeah. Families, yeah.
you're not wrong, but it gets a little more interesting than that. See, Old Navy's strongest markets aren't actually those,
Big cities.
big fashion-forward cities like New York or LA.
Right,
It's actually,
yeah.
it's the smaller cities. Think about their core customer, right? It's women, 35 to 44.
Okay.
Many with families
Yeah.
who want value for their money,
Makes sense.
but without sacrificing style.
Yeah.
And that demographic, way more prevalent in those smaller cities.
Okay, so they're tapping into a market that's often overlooked by those bigger,
Okay.
fashion brands.
Totally.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So in-house design, clear target market, and they found success in these smaller cities. But what about their marketing? Because I feel like
Oh, they're everywhere.
they're everywhere.
They are masters.
They're masters.
Yeah, celebrity collaborations, those massive sales,
Huge sales.
and they're killing it online.
Plus, I mean, they just celebrated their 30th anniversary with that whole 90s,
90s collection, which was so clever.
It was. They know how to tap into nostalgia. Like, remember those Supermodel Queens commercials?
That's I too.
From like the early 2000s?
Yeah. Cheesy, but so memorable.
So memorable.
Those campaigns, the jingles, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all part of their icon status.
Absolutely.
But it hasn't just been nostalgia. They've also, like, really embraced inclusivity, especially with that boat equality initiative.
Oh, yeah. That was groundbreaking. 2021, right. They decided to offer
Yeah.
all women's sizes at the same price, from 0 to 30.
Wow.
It was huge. I mean, for the industry. It wasn't just about body positivity. It was a statement. Like, fashion should be accessible to everyone, right?
I remember that campaign. It felt like a real turning point. And then suddenly, like, every brand was talking about inclusivity and size
Yeah.
ranges. Did it,
Yeah.
did it pay off for them?
That's the question, right? Did they attract new customers? Did sales go up? We're going to dig into all of that a little bit later in our deep dive.
It's amazing how they blend, like, business savvy
Right.
with the social initiative.
Absolutely. And it really resonates
Yeah.
with shoppers today, especially younger generations.
Totally. Okay, so we talked about their marketing, the design process, inclusivity. But let's not forget about the clothes themselves.
The clothes.
Yeah. I mean, they
well,
really found that sweet spot between,
Yeah.
like, trendy and timeless.
You can find those classic pieces like,
Yeah.
your denim, your basic tees, but then
Yeah.
also those trendier items.
And their activewear.
Oh, don't even get me started.
It's so good
The perfect blend of style and,
and affordable.
affordability.
I practically live in their leggings.
It's a great example of how they've expanded their offerings but stayed true to,
Yeah.
those core values.
It goes back to that in-house design team
Right.
being able to, like, know what people want.
Anticipate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really this combination of factors. They understand the customer,
Absolutely.
they've mastered marketing,
Yeah.
and they deliver those on-trend clothes at prices we can actually afford.
And on the financial side, they've been a powerhouse for Gap Inc. Even back in 97, they were contributing almost 20%.
Wow, 20%.
Back then.
Yeah, of the company's total earnings.
That's a lot. But was that always like a good thing for Gap Inc., to be so reliant?
That's a really good question. And, it brings up some of those complexities of a big retail business.
Yeah.
Because, while Old Navy has been like a huge asset,
Yeah.
there could be risks with relying too heavily on,
One brand.
one brand.
Yeah.
What if they experience a downturn?
Right.
It would definitely impact Gap Inc.'s overall performance.
So how have they managed to weather those, economic ups and downs?
I think a big part of it is just adapting and staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
They're always evolving, testing new ideas,
Right.
listening to customers.
And they're not afraid to take risks.
No, which is huge in retail today. Speaking of risks, what about the competition? How have they stayed ahead in
It's a battle.
such a crowded market?
It is. You've got those fast fashion giants like
Right.
H&M and Zara,
Yeah.
and then online retailers like ASOS,
Right.
Boohoo, all competing for the same customer.
So how do they differentiate themselves? Is it just
Well, price is a factor, but they've also built this strong brand identity.
Yeah.
It's that style and value and inclusivity we've been talking about. And, they highlight their ethical sourcing, their sustainability,
Which is
which
huge these days?
it's becoming more important to shoppers.
Totally. You've touched on some of the challenges they face,
Yeah.
but what do you think is the biggest hurdle for them moving forward?
I think attracting and retaining customers, it's such a competitive market, right?
Right.
The rise of online shopping,
Yeah.
consumer preferences changing constantly.
It's hard to keep up.
It is. They can't get complacent.
True, they have to keep adapting. And with so many brands promoting sustainability,
Right.
how does Old Navy measure up?
It's a question a lot of people are asking, and for good reason.
Yeah.
They've made efforts to incorporate sustainable practices like
Yeah.
using more recycled materials, reducing waste.
Yeah.
They've partnered with organizations like the Better Cotton Initiative.
I see.
But, it's a journey.
It's a journey.
There's always more to do.
So they're making progress, but there's room for improvement.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that even brands we like
Right.
have an impact. We got to hold them accountable.
We do. It's about transparency
Right.
and
Yeah.
continuous improvement.
And we as shoppers, we can help drive that change.
We can.
Okay, we talked about their strategies, their impact.
Yeah.
But from your perspective, what are the biggest takeaways? What makes Old Navy such a compelling,
It's funny. It's their ability to balance these
Yeah.
seemingly contradictory elements.
Yeah.
They're a mass market retailer, but they're offering trendy and stylish clothes.
Right.
But they're also staying true to affordability
And inclusivity.
and inclusivity.
Yeah.
And they're doing all this while navigating,
A global.
global supply chains.
It's a lot.
It is.
It's like they cracked the code of fast fashion
I think they have.
without sacrificing those core values.
They've shown it's possible to be successful and responsible
Yeah.
and responsive to your customers and the planet.
Their story really shows how brands are changing.
Yeah.
It's not just about selling clothes anymore.
No, it's about, making a statement,
Yeah.
connecting with consumers on a deeper level.
I completely agree. Old Navy shows brands
Yeah.
can be agents of positive change, whether it's
Right.
promoting
Right.
inclusivity,
Let it be
embracing
road sign.
sustainability.
Offering great clothes
Yeah.
at a price everyone can afford.
And that brings us to the heart of our deep dive. We explored their rise to success, their strategies, their impact.
Mhm.
But the question remains, do you think Old Navy, with its focus on affordability and accessibility, is ultimately changing the fashion industry for the better? That's the big question, right? Are they changing the game or just playing it really well?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
They've definitely raised the bar for what we expect from
Yeah.
affordable fashion.
Yeah.
A commitment to inclusivity. It
Yeah.
just pushed the industry forward.
Totally. I've noticed other brands kind of following their lead.
Right. Especially with,
Yeah, like size inclusivity
Yeah.
and more diverse marketing.
Absolutely. It's like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Inspiring other brands to think differently and cater to more customers.
But what about that balancing act we talked about? Can they keep those low prices
Right?
and still prioritize sustainability and ethical production?
That's the million-dollar question right there. And
Yeah.
it's something they're really working on. They've made progress with, sustainable materials and reducing their footprint. But there's always more to do.
Right.
The challenge for them, and I think for the whole industry, is to make sustainable practices more affordable.
It's like a paradox almost.
Yeah.
Fast fashion encourages so much consumption and waste,
Right.
but people are becoming more aware of the
Of the impact.
impacts of that whole cycle.
You hit it right on the head. It's tough. There's no easy answers.
Yeah.
But I think Old Navy is in a unique position, to maybe lead the way.
How so?
Well, they have the scale, the resources to make a difference.
Right.
And they're not afraid to change things up. Like, think about boat equality.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do that.
Right.
But they saw the need for inclusivity and went for it.
So they can become a leader in sustainable practices too.
I think so, yeah. And a lot of it depends on, us, the shoppers.
Consumers.
The more we make sustainability a priority, the more brands will follow suit.
It's a two-way street then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every purchase we make, it's like a vote, for the kind of world we want.
Okay, so we've talked about Old Navy's journey, their impact, all of it. But after all of this, how do you feel about their role in shaping the future of fashion?
That's a good question. One that I think everyone listening should think about,
Yeah.
Old Navy's made fashion more accessible and inclusive for sure.
Yeah.
But the challenge now is how to make that last.
Right.
How to make it sustainable.
Yeah.
I think they have the potential to be a leader there.
Yeah.
But it's going to take, continuous commitment to innovation and transparency.
And listening to what their customers and the planet need.
Totally.
Well said. We covered a lot of ground today.
We did.
From their beginnings to their impact on the fashion world.
We talked about their strategies, their marketing, how they changed how we think about inclusivity and affordability.
And we really dove into the complexities of fast fashion.
And that balance between affordability and sustainability.
But the biggest takeaway is that we as consumers have power.
We do.
Our choices shape the future of fashion.
Every purchase matters.
So next time you're at Old Navy, remember that.
Remember that.
Every purchase is a vote.
It is.
For the world you want to see.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into Old Navy.
Hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Until next time.
Keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep diving deep.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.